Welcome back to Small Talk. As I promised, I was going to record two videos today. My second video is actually very interesting, and this is about women gynecological problems. So I'm going to tell a story. When I gave birth to my son, um, it was month of October. I was at the hospital, and my son was born. It was natural delivery, normal delivery, no C-section. And my husband went home at night after 9 o'clock or so because my daughter Vera was home with my sister. So she kept calling, "Daddy, come home." So I said, "No, you go home. I have nurses here. I'll be fine." And he left. And my room's window at the hospital, the room that I was sleeping in, the window was left open. And though it was October, it snowed. I know, surprise. It was in Albany, New York, and it snows a lot in Albany, New York. So it snowed at night, and the window was open, and of course the cold breeze kept coming in. Though I had blanket on, but I lost my the TV remote. I couldn't turn off the TV. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I realized that I can't move my legs. And I had delivered my son that day at 12 or 1 p.m. So at night, around 11 o'clock, I can't move at all in my bed. So I somehow found the thing to call the nurse, and I pressed that call the nurse button, and she answered, and she said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "I need to go to the bathroom." And she said, "Okay, you can get up and go to the bathroom." And I was so mad, I just didn't go to the bathroom, and I kept crying all night. And my husband, so in the morning, my doctor comes in, and she asked me. She was from Pakistan. She was a Pakistani doctor, very old lady, very experienced, very nice doctor. I usually don't go to Pakistani doctors. No offense to Pakistani doctors, but I usually avoid them. But my sister had her son delivered by her, and she said, you should go to her. She's not bad. She's not like typical Pakistani doctors. Um, she's excellent. You will like her. And I said, okay. So I took her advice, and I went to her and I selected her as my gynecologist. And I am so pleased and happy that I did that. So in the morning when my doctor came, sorry, the anesthesiologist came because I had epidural before the delivery. He just came to follow up, and he asked me how I was doing, and I said, I can't move my legs. Uh, and he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, He was like, "Why didn't you tell anybody?" I said, "Well, I called the nurse last night. I had to go to the bathroom, and she said you could go yourself." And I said I was just terrified. I didn't want to, argue with her at the time. So he got very scared. He thought maybe, my nerves got damaged or something from epidural. So he helped me get up, and I couldn't move my leg. He helped me stand up, and I almost fell. And then finally, they had to take me. They did X-ray on me. They did MRI and CT scan, and I guess they were just so scared, and they panicked because they thought they have damaged my nerves, and now I'm gonna be paralyzed for the rest of my life. Um, so once they've done all that, that's it. Their knowledge ended. And I'm talking about this very wonderful hospital, Alice Hospital in Albany, New York, that is specialized in women and children. So I went there for a reason, because I wanted to deliver my child over there, because that's a hospital specialized for women uh, and gynecology. Um, and that's it. Their knowledge ended. They didn't know what's wrong with me. They were like, "Well, everything seems normal. You don't have any nerve damage. We've done all the tests, X-rays, ultrasound. They did whatever they could." And they were like, "We don't know what's going on." So they brought me back into my room. And my husband usually used to come to the hospital at like 10, 11 o'clock. And then my husband came, and I started crying, and he was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "I don't know. This is what happened." But I had a pretty good idea. I was like, because I was the daughter of a Hakim. So I told my husband, I said, the window was open last night. It snowed. And I think, तो मैंने उर्दू में बोला, मैंने कहा मुझे हवा लग गई है. And he was like, "What do you mean?" So I said, when women deliver babies, they should not sit in cold air. They should not drink cold water. They should not take cold bath. Those are things that I grew up listening to my dad and my grandmother. That when the woman delivers a baby, they should not do any of those things. ठंडे पानी में हाथ नहीं डालना. ठंडे पानी से नहाना नहीं है, खुद को वॉश नहीं करना ठंडे पानी से, ठंडा पानी पीना नहीं है, और ठंडी हवा में नहीं, इवन पंखा भी नहीं चलाना, एटलीस्ट फॉर द फर्स्ट 7 days after the delivery. At the time we were kids, those things didn't make any sense. I remember when my mom had my younger siblings, I was the oldest one. It was My brother was born in hot summer in Ramadan, and it was so hot. And once he was born, my mom was sleeping in a room with a blanket on and no fan in Pakistan in June, July ki garmi. And I was like, oh my God, how is this helping me? She's gonna die from this heat. But believe me or not, my mother had 6 children, and after 40 days of giving birth to her child, every single time she would go back and fit into her pre-pregnancy clothes, and she had like literally waist this small. She was more skinny after 6 kids than I was after giving birth to my first child. And it's because she followed my dad's and my grandmother's advice. So I told my husband, I said, I think because the window was open, it snowed last night, and I think that did something to my body. So he said, okay, call your Abu. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna call Abu. But I was thinking about calling my dad, but in the meantime, my doctor came in and she said, Beta kya hua hai? And I said, this is what happened, I can't move my legs. So she was Pakistani, she was Desi, so I guess she had some idea what might have happened. So she called the nurse and she said, bring her a heating pad. So she brought me a heating pad and she said, turn it on high heat, which she did. They put it under my back, my lower back and my hips. And then she said, put a heavy blanket on her. So they put like warm blankets on me. And she said, just lay there. You're going to sweat a lot, I know, but try not to get your legs out of the blanket. So I said, yes, I know. I had a pretty good idea. So I laid there for like good 7-8 hours. It was burning hot. I was feeling very restless, but I knew I had to do this in order for me to get fixed. That doesn't sound right. Okay, in order for me to feel better. So after 3 to 4 hours, I was able to, I still couldn't put pressure on my legs because my hips were hurting, my back was hurting so badly. But then my husband would pick up my legs and he would put them on the floor. He'll help me get up. And then once I'm on my feet, I was able to go to the bathroom or walk around a little bit. But it was still hurting me so much that if I had to, because when you want to get up and you sit up, you put lots of pressure on your butts and on your legs and lower back. So I guess that was hurting me a lot. So they discharged me the next day. I came home and I called my dad and I said, Abu, this is what happened. And my dad was like, he was so mad at the doctors. He was like, these stupid doctors, they have no idea what they're doing. And he was like, did they give you ice pad? I said, yes, they gave me ice pad. I said, but when I was feeling like something is happening to me, I got up. At one point, actually, I got up and I took off the ice pad and I used the regular normal pad. So he was like, good, I'm glad that you did this. And he was like, don't ever do that again. When you deliver baby, you need to stay away from anything that's cold or ice. And then he said, don't take a shower for 7 days, for a week. And then he said, buy Gulkand. So what is Gulkand? Gulkand is rose petal jam or rose petal preserve. They basically take rose petals and they put them in sugar and then some other stuff, and then they preserve it. And then he said, boil a glass of milk every day before you eat anything in the morning and at night before you go to bed, and add 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of Gulkand in it, that rose petal preserve, and drink it every night with some desi ghee in it. And then number 2, he said, eat kuchle wali goli. So kuchle wali goli, kuchla is basically poison nut tree. It's literally poison. And my dad makes that medicine. So we always had that in my house, in my sister's house. My mom has it. Everybody in my family has it. That's one of the medicine that my father made for women gynecological problems. So he said, take kuchle wali goli. So how it's made, it's like you take kuchla. Kuchla is like a seed of a poison tree. It's like a round shape, black in color, and it has a small nut inside. So you have to peel it very carefully and gently because the nut inside is literally poison. If you touch it and you lick it, you'll probably die. Or if somebody puts it in their mouth, that's it, they're dead. So my grandmother, as I said in the previous videos, she used to make all the medicine. She was the expert of making medicine, and she was the real chemist. So she would very carefully use a very small knife, and then she'll peel off the little skin of it, take out the seed, she'll put it on the side. Now that seed was not a waste either. That poison was not waste. That poison will sit there, and it was used to make another medicine which you don't take internally but just for external use. And I will go on, I would tell about that medicine later, maybe in some other video. But anyways, nothing was being wasted because all those things were very expensive. It cost lots of money, and every single piece of those herbs and natural plants and those nuts and trees was actually utilized in the medicines that my father made. And then the peel of that nut was used with lots of other medicine to make small pills, which were used for women's problems in particular. Um, so those small pills, they're very bitter in taste, but they were cooked in high heat. So even if there was a little bit of poison left in them, it would just change the properties because, as I said earlier, every single medicine that my father made was cooked at extremely high heat for hours. And you know, when we heat up something at such a high heat, it does change the chemical properties of that particular product. So um, then my dad said to eat kuchle wali goli. So those were like very small, tiny goliyan pills in round shape. You had to take 2 in the morning, again with one ek chatank desi ghee. Ek chatank means about 4.5 tablespoon of desi ghee. You can just swallow it and the ghee, or you can put that ghee in chai or milk in like hot milk and eat it first thing in the morning before your breakfast, and then you have to wait for 45 minutes and then eat your breakfast. But then before the breakfast, I also had to drink milk with that gulkand, the rose petal preserve. And my father said to keep doing this twice a day until this pain is gone. So I kept doing it, and then my father told my younger sister, she was at my place at the time. I called her and I said, can you come? Because I can't move my legs. So she came to stay with me for about a week or so. And then my father told her some other remedies that she had to do, like burn some onions and, some turmeric and desi ghee, and until it's like onion is really dark, let it cool off, and then massage my legs and my back and my hips, and then wrap it in like cotton and all that stuff. So I really have to sweat. And my sister kept doing it. My dad did not let me take a shower for a whole week. He was like, just do the sponge bath with hot water. You don't need to shower. Don't put your hands in the water. And he cursed the heck out of doctors. He's like, these doctors are stupid. They could have killed you. Once, if you were sitting in that cold room with window open, being snowing outside, and you had ice pad on, that was a good enough recipe right there for your death. You got lucky that you're still alive. And he took care of that for us. And after about 3 weeks, I was able to get up on my own from my bed and go to the bathroom. That's how long it took me. And the doctors at the hospital, I had obviously follow-up appointments. They didn't know what to do with me because their knowledge had ended. And my father always said, allopathy, the modern medicine, is good for any kind of traumatic events. For example, if you get into a car crash and God forbid you have severe injuries, sure, go to the hospital. That's a good place to go. If you have a heart attack, if you follow the Ayurveda lifestyle, you should not even have a heart attack. But let's say you already messed up your system and you have a heart attack, of course, go to the hospital. That's a good place to go. Similarly, if you have a third-degree burn, go to the hospital to take care of that. But he said if you have any of these kind of problems, which I just described, if you have GI tract problems, if you have skin problems, if you have kidney problems, if you have liver problems, um, go to an Ayurvedic Hakim and they will fix it for you. The process is going to be slower, but it's going to be a permanent fix. It's not going to be that bandage effect. I will make video on all those things gradually. For example, kidney problems, liver problems. Lots of people have fatty liver these days. So I will explain how my father used to fix fatty livers for them. Hepatitis C. My father has cured so many people who had hepatitis C, and they didn't believe my dad. Once my dad said, "You're cured," and then they were like, "How do you know if I'm cured?" And my dad said, "I could look at your face and I can tell you you're cured." And then he would say, "Go to the doctor, get the reports done, like do an hepatitis C test and see what the result comes back." And then they were shocked to see the results. Even I was shocked to see the result, because there was a time when in Pakistan, every other person had hepatitis C. It was like a pandemic that took place in Pakistan, at least in Jhang. I'm from city Jhang, and lots of people were sick with hepatitis C. And because it's a contagious illness, so when people go to restaurants, if one person ate food and something, they probably didn't wash the dishes properly, so it kind of just spread everywhere. So my father has cured, alhamdulillah, so many people with the help of Allah, and for a fraction of the price. And people, जो बेचारे गांव के गरीब लोग होते थे, they couldn't afford the medicine to go to the doctors and take care of their hepatitis C problem. So my father would not charge them any money, or very small minimal amount, just the cost of the medicine that he had to buy for them, and he will take care of it. So many people were cured. So I will make videos gradually on all those things. Even now we have a problem. At least me, I call my dad and I said, "Abu, this is the problem. How do I fix it?" And alhamdulillah, not that I follow my father's practices religiously, but a little bit of care that I, you know, the few things that the steps that I follow as I've grown up, and I've seen my dad do those, I think it has helped me a lot. I'm 46 years old, and knock on wood, till this day, I don't even take a single pill for headache. And so that's the beauty of Ayurveda. I'm not saying it's going to make you live long. There's no guarantee of our life. I could not have take the next breath and I just collapse right here. Of course, the death is imminent. We all have to die. But at least the life that we have, we can make it better quality and live without medication, and live in a peace and harmony instead of taking 10 pills in the morning and 10 pills at night and 20 pills, for lunch. That's just not something that you have to do if you follow the true practices of Ayurveda. And alhamdulillah, I am so grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I had a family where these things were very widely practiced. And till this day, I don't take any medication. My daughter, sometimes she just takes Tylenol. "Oh, Mama, I have a headache. I'm going to take Tylenol." And I told her, "Please don't take lots of Tylenol. It's not good for you. It's not good for your liver. It's not good for your stomach." I said, "Do you ever see me taking Tylenol?" And she said, "No, because you're crazy." And I said, "No, I'm not crazy. Trust me. I follow my dad's instructions and I take his medicine, and I don't have to take all this other medication. Of course, now I'm getting older, so I do take some vitamins. Like, for example, if my iron is low, my dad always tell me, we don't recommend taking iron. It's better if you eat sufficient iron from your food. But that's something that it's hard for me to do because I don't eat a lot, so I don't think I can fulfill the deficiency of iron from the food. So I have to take iron medicine, and then sometimes in the winter I take vitamin D because I feel very depressed, and those winter blues get over me. So I have to take vitamin D to kind of boost up my mood because my vitamin D is always low. So anyways, this was the story, and this was the cure. So if you guys so it's for young women who are still delivering babies, please, when you deliver a child, whether it's a C-section or if it's a vaginal delivery, don't use ice pads. Use normal, regular, dry cotton pads. Don't drink cold ice water. I was at the hospital, and the woman who delivered the baby, she was in the same room next to me, and she was eating ice cream, and she would drink cold ice water. The first thing they brought to me was, after I was done delivering my son, juice with ice in it. And I said, no, I'm not drinking it. um, so they were shocked because they do all those things uh, to stop the bleeding or minimize the bleeding, but that's what causes women to gain lots of weight, and they have big fat bellies and now have so many back problems and pains here and there in their body after they deliver babies. So my father's has always advised women when he used to take care of those women who delivered babies. He would say, don't try to stop the bleeding after you deliver the child. Don't drink cold water. Let the dirty blood get out of your system, because for 9 months you haven't had your periods. Everything was inside your system. Now that you delivered the child, that blood has to you have to drain that blood from your system. It's not healthy for you. It's toxic. It's poisonous. It needs to get out of your system. And then he would actually encourage women to eat warm things that are warm in nature. For example, don't eat dahi, yogurt, don't drink lassi, don't drink cold milk, don't eat cauliflower because they're all gassy and cold in nature. Um, don't eat zucchini, don't eat okra, bhindi, things like that. Instead, eat eggs, chicken, बकरे का गोश्त, मटन जो होता है, lamb or goat meat, and then eat desi ghee, gandum ki roti, like wheat bread. Um, Gur and desi ghee ke halwa, panjiri, all those things are, people who are from Pakistan, they know what I'm talking about. So women, when they usually deliver babies, it's a tradition that they feed them all these things. And the reason is not because of course, they need lots of energy too, because they have just produced another human being out of them. So they probably have lost lots of nutrients along with all the stuff that comes out of our system. But it's also because when you deliver the baby, everything is so, I don't have the word for it. Everything is so, it's like, inside your system is so tender and it's so sensitive that any cold stuff will actually cause the inflammation inside your system. So you have to eat everything warm and greasy. And when I say greasy, I don't mean to use these vegetable canola oils, rather eat lots of desi ghee. So I know when I first delivered my daughter with my first child, I remember I had consumed 10 kilos of desi ghee within 45 days. And that was as per my father's advice. And I did not get fat, no. In fact, it helped me lose weight very quickly. And I felt a lot more energetic and a lot more healthy after I delivered my baby. It's because for once in my life, I followed my father's directions exactly, and it did help me a lot. So yes, it does sound a lot and people will not believe me, but 10 kilo of desi ghee is a lot of ghee to be consumed in 45 days. But that's exactly what I did. जो आटा गूंथते थे वो देसी घी में गूंथते थे, पानी नहीं डालते थे, और उसकी रोटी बना के मैं खाती थी. फिर देसी घी का हलवा होता था, और उसमें जो एक्स्ट्रा घी, इतना एक्स्ट्रा घी होता था कि जब वो हलवा मेरी अम्मी गर्म करती थी, तो that extra ghee, she will have me drink it. And I had to drink that extra ghee after I ate my halwa. And I would do this 2 to 3 times a day. And because I was nursing, I used to get hungry all the time. So my mother used to feed me all that desi ghee wali roti. And it's not like you have a dough made and you just put a little bit of desi ghee on it. No, she would make the dough with the desi ghee. So constantly she's adding ghee in it, and she would knead the dough. And that roti was so, it's just out of this world. Someday, maybe my friends who are watching me, maybe I'll make that roti for you guys, and you'll say, yes, you can eat 10 kilo desi ghee if you eat this roti every day. It's like just out of this world, heavenly. So yes, eat as much as you can, but don't eat thandi cheezein, no watermelon, no melon. You can have mangoes. Don't drink lassi, don't eat yogurt, don't eat ice cream, don't drink ice cold water once you deliver the babies. Don't eat cauliflower, zucchini, okra, what else? You should eat more of like spinach, saag if you're a sabzi eater, masoor ki dal, the yellow dal. Don't eat dal mash because dal mash has cold effect in your body. You can eat karela, eggs, chicken, chicken soups, lamb or goat meat. Don't eat beef. You can eat desi ghee, gandum ki roti, because gandum ki roti has warm effect as well. Uski taseer garam hoti hai. And things you can eat nuts like badam, akhrot, almonds, walnuts, etc., because they're all warm in nature. And those are good for you when you deliver the child. You can drink warm milk, but don't drink cold milk. You can eat mango, uh, because mango have warm effect in your system, but you cannot eat oranges, strawberries, um, watermelon. I think I already said that. Don't eat grapefruits, lemon or lemon water or lemonade. Don't drink that, please. No cokes and sodas. No juices whatsoever after deliver, at least for 45 days if you want to live a long, healthy life and if you want to be able to take care of your babies. I hope this video helps. Please give my video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Until next video, Allah Hafiz.